Awesome. Awesome. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one here. When I am stressed, I expect the worst out of most situations. Oh, I expect the worst out of most situations, and I find myself getting more anxious and or helpless. I expect the worst. I look for the worst to happen. I kind of prepare myself for the worst, and it kind of raises my anxiety, makes me feel like there's less opportunity for me to come out of this thing on top. If that resonates with you, that's me. If not, nah, that's not me. That's not me. Okay. Well, let's go to the next one. When I am stressed, the smallest issues become the most important. Then, because it's important, I now feel more pressure or emotional tension. The smallest thing, the smallest thing. Why is the person in front of me driving so slow? Right? I just want to Hulk smash their whole car out off the highway, right? Like the smallest things. Like, why did they forget my French fries in McDonald's drive-thru? I'm eating the wrong stuff. Is that because I don't know. Yeah, that's not me. Still pretty balanced, y'all. This is really good, really good. All right, I think this is the last one. So when I'm stressed and under pressure, I depend on my supports. So I ask for help. I'm self-made, y'all. I figure it out on my own. Or why ask? Because people, they're gonna see me struggling and they'll just help me out. Which one of these resonates with you? Woo, we got a lot of self-made people in here. What, self-made millionaires? Self-made future millionaires? Woo. I depend on my support, so I ask for help. I'm self-made. I figure it out on my own. Or why ask? People will see me struggling and help out. Wow, wow. This question right here is the most one-sided out of all these questions. Wow. Self-made, baby. I see you, Lewis. I see you. All right, awesome, awesome. I think that's the last one we have here. Okay, oh, there's one more. At this point in the semester, I feel all the way motivated. I'm like, there's 2.5 weeks. Let's get it. I'm about to dominate the end of this semester. Or I feel all the way stressed. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if things are going to add up. I don't think my grades are going to look right. I'm thinking about pass no credit. I'm thinking about why didn't I drop a class earlier? I'm thinking about why did I take this class? All these different thoughts are going through my mind, right? I'm stressed. I'm disconnected. Like I'm kind of just in a fog. Like, is this real? I know they said 2.5 weeks. They said 4 weeks, but it might as well be no weeks because I'm kind of like not really connected. Where are you guys at on this? Where are you guys at? So it looks like all the way stressed is leading. All the way stressed is leading. So what I want to do real quick, and this isn't the plan, but I want to go back here for a second because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this a little bit as a group, and I want to get some feedback from anybody who feels led to jump in on this. But on this question here, there's a big body of you guys that selected I'm self-made, you figure out situations on your own. And then there's also the majority of you guys, I don't know how many of you, but the majority did choose that in this moment right now, I'm all the way stressed, right? So what I really want us to do here is to begin to talk about what things look like for us when we're stressed. When our stress hits us, what do we do with that and how are we processing that personally? Because a lot of what we do and a lot of what we face is going to be connected to how we respond to these very situations, right? So let's go here. How has pressure affected your life academically, professionally, or personally? How do you feel as if this has happened? You could put it in the chat, or you could unmute. I prefer if somebody unmutes and tells me their verbal response to this. But when you think of your academics, when you think of your work, or your personal relationships, whether it's family members, loved ones, your boo thing, even your kids, if you have them, how does pressure, how does stress, how does anxiety really affect you in your life? Who wants to go?
I can go.
Please.
So for me, like personally, it affects me like across the board. So academically, it's like you said, I don't sleep, I overeat, I'm worried all the time, which makes it hard for me personally because then when I'm hanging out with friends or family or trying to do something that maybe I enjoy or makes me happy, all I'm doing is worrying about maybe something I haven't submitted or something that I didn't do as well on. And I'm always worried about my GPA and how everything is going to turn out. So it really can be an overall, like I feel when I'm stressed, I also get a very internal feeling. So I feel very sick. Like I said, I don't sleep, I eat a lot. It's a whole process, which is just not good, which is why I then go like into overdrive basically. And like I'll take a night or two out of the week and any back work I've missed, I'll get it all done. I'll get any work that I have coming up done. So I'll get all that turned in. I'll email my professors, I'll apologize for any late work, and ask if there's anything I can do for extra credit if maybe I'm not doing so well in a class. Which is why I say I may be stressed, but in the end, I do manage to kind of keep myself together because my body goes into like a fight or flight mode when it comes to my academics. And normally I end up fighting and doing well overall.
Nice. Christina, thank you for sharing that. Let's give her some positivity with that. Let's give her some snaps. That's how we do it. Thank you for sharing that, Christine. That was a really robust approach, and you really touched on all three of those things, and that's real. We appreciate that. Karina in the chat, she put, it makes it harder for me to concentrate on my work and not just on one subject, but all of them. That's real also. Let's snap it up. Let's give her some snaps. Someone sent this to me privately, so I won't say their name just in case they wanted it to be private. I don't know. But it says, I will say the pressure from the pandemic has definitely affected me academically. I find myself having lower grades versus before the pandemic, which causes me to stress, which leads to some stress eating sometimes. Then there was another caveat to that. I'm ready for this pandemic to be over. If anybody resonates with that, let me see some snaps. Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else who wants to share verbally what this has been for you, what this has meant to you, what stress, how does stress personally affect you as you see it in any one or all three of those areas?
Well, can you hear me?
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, I was thinking that I liked how you mentioned like support systems. And I think that when I'm stressed, I immediately turn to support systems. And in school, since we can't, I don't know many people in my class. I like to put this may sound kind of weird, but like I like to actually put my like number and my name in like a little discussion in the beginning of the semester and say, hey, does anyone want to like copy my number down? Like, please text me, because if you have any issues during the semester, I would love to create like a study group. And because of the pandemic, I've started like, crazy enough, like almost everyone in my groups have like iPhones. So we all just like go on FaceTime together. And that's really helped me throughout the like online classes during the pandemic, especially math classes. Like I took stats 2 and I think calc. I don't know what some calc, and I'm really horrible with math, but like just throwing my name out there and putting my number out there, like I didn't think anyone would text me because I was like, oh, I'm probably the only one struggling. I'm probably the only one going through this. And a lot of people were like, hey, like I saw your number. So I like to build a support system or just have someone to ask for help, or I will talk to my other friends that go to Rutgers and ask their opinion if they've taken classes that I'm currently struggling in, and see what help that they can give me. Yeah, so I would say that's how I handle a lot of stress, because I'm not really afraid to ask for help, because I definitely don't know all the answers, and I just learned from every new person that I meet. So
Nice. Let's snap it up for her. Absolutely. Very good. Very good. Is there anybody else felt something that they wanted to add to this space before we move on? 3, 2, 1. All right, cool. So thanks for those additions. We have a second question here. How important is the improvement of your pressure management system? How important is it? And I want you guys to put this in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to do some self-assessment, and I want to see the chat go crazy. Where would you rate the importance of you seeing some improvement in the way that you manage pressure for yourself? Like, you do what you have to do. You have different experiences that cause you to make different choices. But if you were to rate, how necessary is it in order for me to reach my most purposeful person, in order for me to be that self-made millionaire, not just dreamer, right? How important is it for me to improve? I'm seeing 10s. I'm seeing 10s all over. Come on, y'all. I got the right group with us today. Let's get some snaps just for that 10 piece. Everybody, 10 piece and a biscuit. Let's go. So, how do you know? But really, how do you know? Right? It's like the TikTok thing, right? How do they know? Will they know, right? Are you managing your pressure well? That's the first question. There's a present issue that comes with pressure anxiety, and I wanted to define it as pressure anxiety rather than just anxiety, right? Because if we're honest, there's some people, and some of us may be here, right, where you just are combated with anxiety all the time. There doesn't have to be anything going on. It could be summertime. You could be on a beach and you just start feeling anxious, right? That's an anxiety issue that has to be resolved through professional help, through getting different resources, and seeing what the core roots of that, right? But then there's different types of anxiety. And one type that we're specifically talking about today is the anxiety that is the response to pressure. Anxiety is the response to pressure. So when I get into a pressure situation, now I'm under anxiety. So this is dangerous because it becomes generalized to other aspects of your life. This is the perpetual feeling that you have to perform, and that the underlying doubts as to whether you can or you can't will continue to produce stress thoughts and stress conversations, which then cause strained relationships. I'm not mad at you. I'm just under pressure right now. So this is the type of person that you'll find when, because there's a situation going on, I don't even know if I can come and talk to you right now. Because I might ask you, what do you want for dinner? And it's like, what do you mean, what do I want for dinner? Right? Like, I don't eat ham, whatever it is, right? Like, everything becomes a potential argument because you're stressed. So everything is coming through the funnel and through the lens of that stressed position, right? And all of a sudden, you start to feel under attack from every area in your life, which can make you feel helpless or hyper aggressive. And that's very key for you to recognize this: helpless or hyper aggressive, right? So if you found yourself, let's say we're talking about academics, right? And let's say you have 3 papers due the same week and a test in one of your toughest classes, right? All of a sudden, you might even start worrying about things on the job. Like, all of a sudden, I feel less capable in this space, which has absolutely nothing to do with my academics. Or if we're honest, sometimes even in our relationships, we start wondering, is my boo cheating on me? I haven't talked to them in a while, but you haven't thought about the fact that I've been busy because you've been the one trying to keep up with work and do different things. But because you haven't heard anything, you start questioning every area of your life. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? You can throw them into the chat or you can unmute. This is a dialogue. If that resonates or doesn't resonate, let's hear something about it.
I definitely think it resonates with me, because like I mentioned earlier, if I'm stressed about any one thing, whether it's about a certain class or even if it's not with academics, if I'm stressed about a relationship that I have with someone and where it's going to go and whether I should stay or not, or whatever, it definitely affects my whole life. It affects me emotionally. I get very I'm less motivated, I'm more tired, I like to stay home more, and my relationships with other people are affected because I'm more irritable, I'm more annoyed, whereas if I'm not as stressed or I'm not as under pressure, I'm in a better mood, I like being around people, I like being outside, things like that. And so if I am in a situation where I feel like there's something going on that I can't fix or work on, it can really affect my whole life. But a lot of the time when it comes to that, I've had to kind of come to a realization that, there's different ways to manage it. I normally try and I listen to music that helps calm me down, take some deep breaths, and then I try and approach the situation from a completely different angle. And I try and figure out a way to either fix it or work on it so that there's a lot less pressure on me.
Yeah.
That way I can kind of continue throughout the day or the week, and just kind of continue to work on it until I'm no longer stressed about that situation.
Thanks for sharing that, Christina. Thank you for sharing that. Let's give her some. So Isabel put in the chat, and that, if you guys have seen the chat or not, we're putting our first name, last name, and RUID for attendance purposes. So we can log that. Isabel says, I agree. When I'm stressed with school, I feel like I don't enjoy going to work or seeing my coworkers because of all the stuff going on in my life, but I try to just be positive and leave my issues at home, which can be difficult at times because of how stressed I am. Yeah, that's real. That's real. So are you managing pressure well? Believe it or not, pressure affects your cognitive ability. It affects the ability of your mind to function, right? So because your cognition affects your success, these are the top areas that are impeded when you're under pressure, right? One is decision-making. The quality of your decisions is often interconnected to the level of pressure that you're facing. Memory, the way you remember things is oftentimes connected to your level of pressure, right? And then third is your attention. You could say attention to detail or your attentiveness in the moment. Someone could be talking to you about something that could be very relevant or irrelevant to your future, but it could be relevant to that moment. And if you're under pressure, I'm not really present. Like I'm thinking about whatever it is that's on my mind, right? So these are some areas that you kind of want to use to gauge how well am I making decisions. If I find that my decisions typically, I go back and it's like, man, I wish I made a different choice, then it's possible you're making decisions under pressure and it's diminishing your ability to make the right choices, right? Or if you find I can't remember nothing, like I always forget something. Oh man, again, I left the house and I forgot this, or I forgot to do that. Is it possible that you're under pressure? Because if we're honest, all the time, we don't know that we're under pressure if we're used to being under pressure, right? Sometimes it becomes normalized. The pressures that we face become a normal everyday circumstance to the point where if I'm not under pressure, that's something special, right? So we have to find ways to be locked in to who we are enough to be able to say, my decisions are failing, my memory is failing, and my attention to detail, my attentiveness is failing. So maybe I need to check on my pressure. Check my pressure. How do you check your pressure gauge, right? One way is if you only imagine negative outcomes. We're going to go a little faster through this, right? Because I think that we've been doing a lot of different things to identify where we are, but I just want to highlight these points because one of the best ways to overcome in the area of pressure and stress is anxiety, is to recognize that stress, pressure, and anxiety is knocking at your door. It's so easy and common to normalize being under stress and being under pressure, like I said before, that sometimes we don't realize that something that we're doing, something that we're saying, something that is a normal habit for us is actually an indication of this, right? So if you only imagine negative outcomes, this negative type of cognitive appraisal, right? This misrepresents the reality of a situation, and it's known by psychologists. There are studies about this. It's called cognitive distortion. How many psychology majors do we have here? Cognitive distortion. So this is likened to a computer virus in that it can cause your thinking component to crash and transmit errant data to your other performance components. So they're so powerful that they often create feelings of anxiety, helplessness, and depression, and or provoke needless anger directed towards those that you love. Woo! That is heavy, y'all. That is heavy. So the fact that I'm thinking negatively, most people wouldn't think that it could have that chain effect, that it could actually cause there to be an amplified feeling of anxiety. It can actually amplify my feeling of helplessness and depression. Just me managing my own negative thoughts. How about that? Let's go to the next one. You magnify the significance of your pressure moments. I could say to someone right now, hey, listen, I need you to give me everything that you've learned in this session. For some people, you'll be like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go, and I can talk about that. For some people, you'll feel sick on the inside, right? As if your whole world is about to crumble, because even though this is a small platform, even though this is a closed network, the significance of this moment will cause you to create so much pressure over something that's small for something that's really, to you, has become big, if that makes sense. So since importance increases pressure, magnification in a pressure moment intensifies the fear of it and anxiety, as well as worries about failure versus success. And this worry often stimulates real fear and anxiety because you shrink your working memory. Jeez. So by you worrying about possibly failing, you shrink your ability to do what actually is known to you. So if anybody has ever wondered why it's hard to take a test that you prepared for as soon as you're being proctored, why is it that when I'm being proctored for a test, it makes me feel all weird and now all of a sudden I don't think the same? Or why is it when I need to get a certain grade on a test in order to get a desired grade, whether it's to get that A or to get that B or to get that C or whatever it is, right? Because this test is so important, I prepare. But when I get to the test, I feel, because I know how heavy this moment is, I actually don't even have the full capacity of my mind. Like, I know I've seen this question before. Why can't I pull it back? Why can't I regurgitate this information? Because I've actually shrunk my working memory by increasing pressure because of my worry. That's major. That's major. And you treat every stressful moment as a pressure moment. This one is another indication. Now, let me keep in mind, guys, all three of these may not resonate with you, but it's possible that at least one of these do. And even if it's not consistent, it's better if it's not consistent, right? Because that means you have a better grasp on it. But if for some reason any one of these resonates more commonly than not, I strongly recommend that you connect with your EOF counselor, you connect with your success coach, you reach out so that you can connect with people that can help you to overcome these areas. In these pressure situations, you can start to feel like something is a mild inconvenience that really has no impact on the success of the day. you start to feel like you're always under the gun, like you always have to produce, and that you start to develop, and then you start to develop pressure anxiety. At work, when everything feels like it's super important, it ironically intensifies and elicits distressing feelings. So this is very common, right? The most simple things that you have to do, all of a sudden is stress. Like I'm racing to do the most simple things that I need to get done because I feel like I'm under some intense pressure, whether it's big pressure or whether it's little pressure. And even if that's not us, I think we all know somebody who operates this way, right? Like it's really not that big a deal. Like just chill. What's the old meme? Relax or something like that. It's relaxing something. Somebody put it in the chat. Don't help me out with that.
Keep calm.
Relax, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
Relax. Don't pull out the 9. I never heard that. What?
What?
Relax. Don't pull out the. You talking about a gun?
My Cash App is Tiani Rain.
Relax. What's the relax quote? Chillax, keep calm. There you go, AJ, my man. Keep calm, right. We all know somebody who could have that meme sitting under them. And if it's not them, then it's us, right? Or there could be moments when it's us, right? Like the reality that keeping calm is really a foundational necessity. It's not an option, because when you stay on this high level and you don't really recognize how not serious everything is, you end up giving your emotions and draining yourself towards situations that are so small that when it's over and done, it's like, man, I feel like I just been through a fight when it wasn't even worth all of that, right? So this is how you make your comeback. This is how you make your comeback. And I'm gonna hit you with 3 solutions. Somebody type in the chat, 3 solutions, 3 solutions. So we talked about the things, how to identify it. We talked about how we feel about it. We talked about where we're coming from, how we impact others with it. Let me see it in the chat. 3 solutions, 3 solutions. These 3 solutions is gonna be the wheelhouse for your comeback in 2021. I don't see the chat going nowhere. 3 solutions, type in there. 3 solutions, 3 solutions. Yeah, 3 solutions. 3 solutions that's gonna change your perspective of how you relate to stress, anxiety, and you get the power back over your pressure. That's right, AJ. 3 solutions. Put a little patois on it. 3 solutions. 3. Visualize yourself succeeding. Visualize yourself succeeding. So as soon as you're faced with the problem, as soon as you're faced with a difficult proposition, it's easy to go to the negative. It's easy to go to a place where you feel like I'm about to fail, I'm about to lose it all. Everything that I was hoping for is not going to happen. It's easy to regurgitate and ingest and regurgitate. It sounds nasty, and ingest negative thoughts. But you may have the habit of default visualization negatively, but it predisposes you to act less effectively. Remember in those moments the things that you do well. Remember the times that you've succeeded. Remember the fact that, hey, I graduated high school. If you're a sophomore, I'm not a freshman anymore. If I'm not a sophomore, if I'm a junior, I'm not a sophomore anymore. If I'm a senior, I'm not a junior anymore. Like the reality is that I've succeeded at something and I've shown that I have what it takes to get past this. And because I've done it before, guess what? I can do it again. Somebody type in the chat, I can do it again. I can do it again. Think about the fact that if I did it before, I can indeed do it again, right? The next one that we want to do is we want to reframe our thinking. This chat's a little messed up, or this screen is, because change your mindset was supposed to be number 3, right? So I'm only talking about right now, reframing your thinking. So when you reframe your thinking, right, there is a way that you tend to put your mind into the space of what it is that you want to do, right? We're talking about visualizing yourself succeeding, right? But how do you frame this? How do you magnify the significance of the pressure moment? or perceive your stress as a pressure moment. When it's time for you to perform, how much pressure do you add? How much stress do you add because of the thoughts that you anticipate? Your natural physiological responses restrict oxygen to the brain and the muscles, making it harder to focus. How many people knew that stress and anxiety was never meant to be so psychological as we've developed it to be? The stress and anxiety, it releases the same hormones that comes with us naturally. And we talked about this in 1.0 with our predisposed DNA towards fight or flight. So the same energy that's supposed to be stirred up, that's supposed to be activated when a bear is coming to attack you, for many of you, you're having that same chemical response in your body because of personal situations relating to your academics, relating to your jobs, and relating to your family. Think about that. The same chemical response. This essay coming up feels like a bear. Right, the bear is coming, right? This is what we experience. You're having trouble with your boyfriend. You're having trouble with your girlfriend. You're having trouble with your parents. You literally have the chemical response that's preparing you to either fight or flight from a life-changing, life-altering situation. How in the world is that healthy? How in the world is it possible for you to operate at your best if your levels are constantly thrown off the Richter scale? How does this happen? It's so imperative that we frame our positive visualizations with realistic perspectives. What happens if I lose this relationship? What's really the worst that'll happen? What's really the best that'll come from me passing? Instead of thinking negatively, right, about what'll happen if I fail, what would happen if I passed? What does that look like? What am I gonna do after I pass this test? I'm prepared, I studied for it. Now, it's one thing if you didn't study. If you winging it and you just go in there like, oh, I'm just gonna give them what's on the top of my mind, right? It's another thing when you've prepared and you've studied and you've given it what it deserves, and then you come into that space, right? And then the next one is changing your mindset. Ask yourself, how can I view the stressful situation not as overwhelming or a crisis, but as a challenge or an opportunity? That's the difference between winners and losers. That's the difference between people who are self-made millionaires and self-made mediocrity. Right? Because it's so easy to be average. It's easy to be normal. But a lot of you guys didn't come here to be normal. You came to change your experience in some kind of a way. And this isn't all connected to money. When I say millionaires, don't reduce that to finance. I'm thinking about just wealth in your life, overall health and wellness. What does that look like if Donovan was the best that he could possibly be? What does it look like if Gerwith was the best that he could possibly be? What does it look like if Liam shook the world with how great he is? What does it look like when the world sees you and when you see yourself in the most unimpeded by flaws, unimpeded by obstacles, unimpeded by the biggest obstacle, which actually is me? There may be things that are against me, things I have to overcome, but at the end of the day, the biggest question I can ask myself is this an overwhelming crisis or is this an amazing opportunity? I don't know about y'all, but if I start looking at things as opportunities, that just causes the pressure to go down right away. That causes me to feel so much greater, so much better, so much more capable in that moment, because now I have something to overcome rather than me receive something that I don't know if I can actually even make it through it. It takes you from a position of defense to now a position of offense. I don't know about y'all, but I never seen a boxing match get won on straight defense. At some point, you got to pull out the one-hitter quitter. At some point, you got to have something to beat down the thing that's trying to beat you. So how about we turn it into an opportunity, right? And when you do this, you will get more oxygen. So we're not just talking about theoretically here. There is actual, just like there's physiological impediments that come from thinking negatively, there's physiological benefits that come from thinking positively. So you've been reducing, how about this? You've been reducing your own ability to breathe, to think, to have heart in tough situations because of your own negative thinking. My mind is blown. All I had to do for all these years is just think positively, and that right there is half the battle won. Come on, somebody. Woo! That's major. Donovan, I know you feel that. Let's go. This is what this is all about, y'all. Having a repositioning, these 3 simple steps. There's so many more things you can do, but I wanted to highlight these 3 simple steps because 2021, this year, right? We've all been in a pandemic. And if you guys haven't noticed, there's vaccines coming out. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I'm not here to talk about that, right? There's things are opening up. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I'm not going to talk about that. But at the end of the day, the way things were in 2020, we can see that it's winding down to an end, right? We've all been sequestered. We've all been isolated. We've all been doing work as individual units. But guess what? 2021 is the year of your comeback. What does your comeback look like? What does it look like when you come out of the pandemic with an arsenal of tools to overcome the things that's dominating this world? Anxiety and stress is literally the #1 mental condition that's striking Americans today. If you live in America, the #1 condition is anxiety and stress. Above everything else, the most diagnosed condition, stress and anxiety. So what would it look like if the thing that's taken out the majority of this country, you learned how to navigate, how to overcome, and how to dispel? That's something to think about. So listen, guys, that's all I have for you guys today. If you got anything out of that workshop today, I need you to put 1,000 in the chat. I need you to put 1,000 in the chat if you got anything out of this workshop today. And for everyone that's been in the workshop, you know how we close things out with a diamond. So you could type a diamond in the chat if you have a diamond is just a powerful point, a powerful reflection, something that you got out of it. You can put that in the chat. But I absolutely want to just leave my diamond with you guys, which is this workshop is not just about giving you guys content. It's literally from my heart to yours because I want to see you win. This isn't about just getting a grade. This isn't about just getting to the next level academically. This is about getting to the next level in life. How do you get from where you've been to where you're going? How do you learn that your strength doesn't come from within? Your strength can be amplified from within, but it comes from those that are around you. I don't know about y'all, but there was an amazing thing that happened when we all came together and started talking about our pressure, our stress, our anxiety. So I'm gonna give you guys this misnomer, right? This misnomer that even if you are self-made, right? I would challenge you to connect yourself with other people who are also equally passionate about being self-made. And guess what? This is the thing that's gonna kind of blow your mind with this. You'll find that you're actually not self-made, but you're connected to people who think on a realm of excellence and achievement and overcoming, where you can then produce for yourself what you wish for yourself. So find those networks, find those connections. And I would even challenge you guys, you see names, you see people in here, I see some powerful diamonds already being dropped. Connect with each other, because listen, this summer is not a summer to lose ground. This summer is not a summer to be lonely. This summer is not a summer to be isolated. This is the summer of your comeback. This is 2021, y'all. This spring is comeback season. This summer is still comeback season. And guess what? What's coming in the fall? Comeback season. We coming back all year long, y'all. So I want to see the best come out of each and every one of you. If there's any questions, any concerns, any thoughts, you can always reach out to me. I'm gonna put my email in the chat, and I want to let you guys know I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for joining, and you guys have an amazing day. Peace.
Mr. Jones, I messaged you on Boxer. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Okay, hit me on the other side. I just don't want everybody to be on your in your conversation with me, but I'll check it out. It must have been close to when we had this workshop because I didn't see it. I'll hit you.
Okay.
Have a good one, guys. I'm gonna miss you guys. Freshmen, this is my last time seeing y'all. I miss y'all.